He built a cabin for a lone Apache woman. Next morning, 3 giants called him son-in-law. Elias McGraw had seen storms before. Dust storms, gunfire storms, even storms inside a man's own heart, but nothing shook him like the sight of the lone Apache woman collapsing. Outside his half-built cabin one freezing desert night. Her breath was shallow, her hands trembling, and her eyes filled with a fear he didn't recognize. The kind that doesn't come from danger, but from having run out of places to run. And right then, before he even knew her name, Elias made a choice. He would not let this woman die on his land. Before we continue this powerful story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to channel name Like, where every story reminds us that kindness still matters. Elias carried her inside, wrapped her in his only blanket, and placed his own coat beneath her head. She was young, maybe mid-20s, dressed in torn buckskin and dusted in dried blood that didn't seem to be hers. When she woke, she whispered her name, Nita, and the single word she could manage through her exhaustion. "Cold, please." So he did what any man with a heartbeat would do. He rebuilt the fire, cooked what little food he had, and kept watch over her through the night, even though coyotes howled close enough to rattle the cabin walls. He didn't ask who she was running from. He didn't ask what trouble might follow her. He only said, "You're safe here." And for the first time in what looked like years, she believed it. By dawn, Nita was sitting upright, sipping warm water from a tin cup. She offered Elias a soft smile, the kind a person gives when they've forgotten what kindness feels like, and suddenly remember. But that peaceful moment shattered in an instant, because just as the sun touched the ridge, the earth began to shake. Elias stepped outside, hand hovering near his rifle, but he froze. 3 enormous Apache warriors, painted for war, rode toward his cabin like mountains on horseback. Their shadows alone seemed taller than the pines. "Nita," Elias whispered. "Are they after you?" She shook her head. "No, they are my brothers. Brothers, as in family. Brothers, as in giants." The tallest dismounted, sized Elias up from boots to hat, and grunted, "You sheltered our sister in the night." Elias swallowed hard. I did what anyone would have." The second brother, broad as a barn door, stepped forward, sniffing the air around. Elias like he was checking if the man was made of courage or sawdust. But it was the third brother, calm and serious, who placed a heavy hand on Elias's shoulder and said the words that nearly sent the rancher straight into the dirt. "Then you are our son-in-law." Elias blinked. "Son in what?" The biggest brother nodded deeply, as if delivering a sacred decree. "You saved her life. You protected her. You treated her with honor. That is enough." Nita turned scarlet, sputtering protests in Apache. But the brothers just smiled proudly, 3 warriors, who clearly had their own definitions of romance. Elias lifted both hands. "Now hold on. I just gave her shelter. This." But the brothers weren't threatening him. They were thanking him. In their culture, an act of pure kindness toward a vulnerable woman was a sign of great character, a man worthy of respect, and maybe even family. The twist wasn't that they wanted to hurt him. The twist was that they admired him, more than any white man they'd met. Later, as the tension eased and the brothers relaxed by the fire, Nita leaned toward Elias and whispered with a shy smile, "They jump to conclusions. They do not mean to pressure you, but they know kindness when they see it." Elias laughed for the first time in weeks. "Well, I didn't expect to wake up with 3 giants calling me family." "Maybe," Nita said softly. "It is the Creator reminding you that kindness is never wasted." That line hit him straight in the chest. Because in one night, by simply choosing to help a lone woman in the cold, Elias found something he didn't realize he'd been missing: connection, respect, and a sense of belonging that had eluded him since he lost his own family years before. He didn't become their son-in-law, at least not that morning. But in the weeks that followed, as he helped Nita rebuild her strength and shared meals with her brothers, Elias realized something. Family isn't always born. Sometimes it walks to your door at sunrise on horseback. Elias's cabin became a home. Nita's laughter found space between its walls. And those 3 giant brothers? They guarded the place like it held the last good thing left in the West. And maybe it did. Because kindness, real kindness, can turn strangers into allies. Allies into friends. And friends into something that feels a lot like hope. And if Elias McGraw's story teaches us anything, it's this. A single act of compassion can echo louder than fear. Bridge worlds that once seemed divided, and change the course of a life before the sun has even risen.